Mastery of Effective Leadership, Introduction Part 1 by Bob Donaldson. Build an extraordinary work culture where everybody wants to be. Before we start, I'm going to be handing over to you 44 different action items in the next 13 presentations. It seems like a lot, but it's not. The next 13 presentations range in length from about 15 to 25 minutes each. Now tell me, do you have 15 or 25 minutes to spare each week? Each action item is just that, an action item. Nothing is left open to interpretation. Just follow the recipe and you will earn power like you've never had before. Each action item is going to have information for the first line supervisor, the middle manager, or even the top C-level organization commanders. What makes this leadership course so powerful is that you're going to be inviting power from the supervisors above you. You are going to be attracting power from the people that follow you. And you're going to be cultivating power from an extraordinary culture that you yourself will be creating. And I kid you not, if you have other leaders in your organization going through this course at the same time you are, and using the action items as you learn them, your work culture is going to become a powerhouse of productivity and job satisfaction all at the same time. Here goes. In human groups, we communicate with each other using behavior. When we stop using certain behaviors while simultaneously starting to use new behaviors, we lower fear, which helps the human brains in the group to collaborate with each other. And we're going to talk a lot about that as time goes on. This increase in collaboration promotes mission success, which is the single most important reason why the group exists. This course has some theory, but it is very high on practical application. Promise. You're going to learn exactly what you need to know in order to be an effective leader. I'm about to give you a series of leadership action items that are very specific. The moment you learn a leadership action item, you can start using it right away. Using these actions, along with the collaborative group behaviors provided by the lost art of collaboration, creates a powerful human-centric enterprise that also provides a deeply satisfying collaborative culture that supports mission success. The more action items you use, the more successful you will be. The more action items your leadership team uses, the more successful your group will be. At first it seems like a lot, but eventually these become second nature. Guides will be offered like the top 10 daily action. With each action item, I will mention how it can be used by the first line supervisor, CEOs, GMs, and the middle management folks in between. Mission success is critical if you want a successful group. Increasing human collaboration is the primary activity necessary for mission success. Human collaboration is increased by teaching people how to collaborate and by lowering fear. How we communicate with each other using our behavior can either increase or decrease fear in the group. We hold people accountable for their behavior so we can decrease fear. We hold people accountable for their performance so we can increase collaboration. We give positive recognition for any behavior we want repeated. We increase training because creating a collaborative culture requires many new and highly specific skills. We always teach recovery behavior so error does not create fear and instead is used to build wisdom. Most people naturally become incredible collaborators when they are taught how to collaborate. Some people will not or cannot collaborate no matter what you do. You can't build a collaborative group with people who will not or cannot collaborate. Last year, American businesses spent almost $16 billion on leadership training with almost nothing to show for it. Good leaders keep themselves grounded in the realities of what they are doing and, more importantly, why they're doing it. In the end, people can handle the truth, and the sooner they confront those truths, the better off everyone will be. Jeffrey Pfeiffer, Stanford University. The reason for leadership failure is a complex subject, and what we do know is the content of most leadership training and how the training is given is not designed for real-world conditions. Leadership creating an enhanced environment unifies productivity towards mission success. In order for leadership training to be effective, it has to teach behaviors that are transferable from training to the real-world conditions. 2, the behavior is immediately useful at the moment it is learned. And 3, the behavior is authentically effective at creating the desired outcome. Robert Donaldson, CEO, Collaborative Strategies Consulting, Inc. This course includes powerful leadership behaviors, lowering fear and maximizing productivity, empowerment through training, recognition, and accountability, mission accomplishment using a continuous improvement strategy. So let's take those 4 categories one at a time. Powerful and understandable leadership behaviors. Most leadership training courses are useless because they are too theory-driven and too hard to understand. They require too much interpretation, leaving the person unsure of what to do next, so they do nothing. Powerful and understandable leadership behaviors. They don't teach easily understood behaviors, and it does not teach the right behavior. They don't teach leaders that many problems remain unknown because group members don't speak up. They don't feel safe telling truth to power. The action items taught in this course are easy to understand, and they produce powerful results. Lowering fear and maximizing productivity. Building a culture where science reduces poor decision making. Treating people with effective behaviors to support empowerment is more than just being nice. Building truth-telling safety allows leaders to focus on what to fix, not who to fix. Fixing what is broken in the group typically solves 80% of your problems. People who are empowered reduces fear-driven decision-making. We'll talk about that in a moment. The human brain now makes the desired decisions we need them to make. No more fight and flight. Instead, rational, logical, and ethical behavior. By using leadership behaviors that encourage inclusion, control, and openness. Build safe environments so you find out the truth about the problems your group is facing. Stop toxic, fear-creating, destructive behaviors. Encourage group members to repeat exceptional performance and take more responsibility for their actions. Overall, group performance skyrockets. By demonstrating the same behaviors that leaders want from others, constantly seeking new ideas for improvement, constantly using the new ideas for improvement, constantly correcting or removing poor behavior, creating safety so people will tell you the truth, results in mission success every time. The leader is responsible for creating the collaborative environment. Leaders must understand the following process if they're going to be effective. This is how our group creates response behaviors. Our group environment or culture determines how we are treated. How we are treated determines how we feel. How we feel determines how we think. How we feel and think will determine our response behavior. Our response behavior ultimately determines our success or failure to collaborate. So, for instance, input is the culture and treatment we were just talking about. Determines the output or the people behaviors you're getting from the people in your group. So, we input certain types of treatment, and the output is certain types of response behavior, all based on a highly predictable process in between. Empowering the culture. Input, empowering treatment system. People will feel and think like they always do, according to the human processing method. Output, collaborative response behaviors. This is all based on brain science. Deteriorated cultures. Input, disempowering treatment system. And people will feel and think like they always do, according to the human processing method. The output is self-centered response behaviors. Forget about collaboration. The treatment system. What you put in determines what you get out. What behavior you put in determines what behavior you get out. Brain science and decision-making. The decision-making location of the brain we use is determined by the amount of fear or perceived threat that the work environment demonstrates. Did you know? Disempowering work environments create both obvious and hidden fears and perceived threats, forcing the human brain to make very poor decisions. We have different locations in the brain that we are using for making decisions based on how much fear is present. Each location determines the type of decisions we make, which then determines the type of behaviors we use. The cerebral cortex and the amygdala. The cerebral cortex, the part of the brain where decision-making is rational, logical, and ethical. The amygdala, the part of the brain that makes fight or flight decisions. With the cerebral cortex, our thoughts are rational, logical, and ethical. So our behavior is rational, logical, and ethical. With the amygdala, our thoughts are fight or flight, so our behavior is fight or flight. Did you know each person needs inclusion to feel significant? Without feeling significant, the fear is being ignored. Each person needs control to feel competent. Without feeling competent, the fear is being humiliated. Did you know each person needs openness to feel likable? Without feeling likable, the fear is being rejected. When fear is present, the amygdala is in charge, and collaboration proves impossible. Why? Most humans cannot hold fear and collaboration in the same part of the brain at the same time. Fear, forget about higher job satisfaction and professional growth. Forget about higher productivity and better problem solving. Forget about retaining your best talent. Forget about dignity and respect. And forget about a continuous improvement culture. Fear. This is what happens. Phase 1. A disempowering work environment lacks inclusion, control, and openness and/or includes toxic behaviors. Phase 2. The group environment is generating the more obvious fears and the less obvious hidden fears of being ignored, humiliated, and rejected. Phase 3. All the different types of fears are forcing the human brains in the group to act from the amygdala instead of the cerebral cortex. Phase 4. Benefits of collaboration are lost. When our group environment or culture is disempowering and treats us with disempowering behaviors, we feel disempowered, threatened, and fearful. We think with our amygdala. When we think with our amygdala, we use fight or flight or even freeze response behavior. When our response behavior is fight or flight or freeze, we ultimately fail to collaborate. When our group environment or culture is empowering and treats us with empowering behaviors, we feel empowered, included, and in control. When we think with our cerebral cortex, we use logical, rational, and ethical response behaviors. When our response behavior is logical, rational, and ethical, we ultimately succeed to collaborate. Leaders who use empowering behaviors given in this course, along with the collaborative group behaviors, will create an empowering, collaborative environment. Empowering treatment equals fear reduction. Fear reduction equals logical, rational, and ethical behavior. Logical, rational, and ethical behavior equals collaboration every time. This is what happens. Negative human behaviors start to drop. Quantity and quality of communication increases. Mission statement gets center stage. Respect and dignity are preferred behaviors by group members. Builds an environment where professional relationships are important. Creates clear and achievable performance expectations. Defines and demonstrates leadership as a support role without giving up power. Improves problem solving. Improves productivity. Group members become involved in creating outcomes. Group members accept more responsibility over time. Inappropriate, toxic behaviors are squashed. Ability to deal with adversity increases. Submission of ideas for improvement rises. Problem solving becomes even more effective over time. Team members become very good at what they do. Leaders grow to very high levels of effectiveness as they now have a high effective work group. They themselves are tested to improve, and they emulate all the behaviors they expect from others. Group members have confidence to make decisions and know when to include their supervisor. The group now creates improvement ideas using a continuous improvement strategy. Leaders learn to check their ego at the door. Leaders make effective decisions at the right time. Leaders avoid cognitive biases and false reasoning. Leaders now allow new facts to change their minds. These empowering behaviors are easy to learn, uniquely powerful, tested in the field, and proven to work. This is Bob Donaldson. Thank you for watching this video. Tune into the next video as soon as you can. Thanks so much.